Hello, everyone, and I really need to make this a Ladies Tale podcast, but I'm going to go with the Women's Cave because, I mean, what the heck? We're booked all the way through September, but we need one more, right? I'm going to go with we need one more. I'm well known, and I remember to introduce myself, so high five to, wait, I'm the narcissist. High five to me, a pat on the back, and then a hug from myself because I'm just that important because I remember to introduce myself. That is so sad. I feel like I have a low bar for personal love. You do not need to know that. You're my audience. Okay. And I think that's it about me, besides the fact that I'm getting distracted by the magpie in front and inside of me is getting distracted by my own like glitzy silver head scrunchie. It's sad. I keep looking going, what's shiny? What's shiny? But let me tell you about books, because that was shiny. Those were shiny words on the page. Ooh, and I did a segue. I am on fire today. The books are And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, If Only I Were Me, A Memoir in Verse, Widow's Web, Widow's Debt, and Foreign Coffee. If you're counting along, that is six books that you can find wherever your audiobooks are found. Now, you know, if this is your first time at the show, well, this is the math and sign language section. Yes, this is a section where we learn like it's a PBS show. If you're not new, you already know what's about to happen. We have 6 books, and then we add 11 more books, and that equals 17 books altogether. Did you catch all that sign language? There you go. So you can find those 17 books at www.andithoughladies.com. I once had a guest say that I should do the andithoughtLadies.com in sign language, and I was like, do you like looking at failure? But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests. Wonderful guests, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, it's great to be here. My name is David Quantick. I've been asked to say 3 things. I'm from Devon in England, which is like countryside and ships, kind of pirates and sheep. I am a TV comedy writer most of the time. I wrote for shows like Veep and Avenue 5. And I really like writing novels and would like to spend most of my time doing that.
Did you just say you wrote on Avenue 5?
Yeah, have you seen it?
On repeat. Like we watch it once a week.
Do you like it?
No, hate it. But you know, I like to suffer once a week. No,
I guess you like it.
Yeah.
It's coming back in October.
I heard that it was coming back, and I was like, it's not coming back fast enough. I'm sorry. Is that a pint? None of my darn business, but is it?
It's an alcohol-free pint, sadly.
Oh.
But it's alcohol-free Guinness. It's very nice. I recommend it.
It looks delicious.
It is delicious. It will not get you drunk, but it will get you refreshed.
That's good. That's very good. It's for me, it's counterintuitive. It doesn't work for me. That wouldn't work because I mean, you know, the tipsier you are, the better the poetry is for me.
It's true for a lot of people.
But anyway, I'm sorry. I saw that and I was like, oh, I do miss England for a good Guinness. That's okay. First of all, I have a question that has nothing to do with writing. How did you survive in the heat wave?
Well, like most English people, I spent 364 days moaning about the weather being bad, and then the moment it was hot, I completely freaked out and went and hid in my house and just caught fire and ran around screaming, and it was horrible. And then it rained again and I was happy. We English people pretend to like the heat, but we really hate it. We cannot cope. We just turn into boiled sausage.
I always find it funny every time we go over in November, which I absolutely hate. But when we go over in November, and I'm always like, can you cut the heat up higher? Why would you want it to be so hot? That is what they ask me at the front desk every time. And I'm like, have you noticed it's cold outside?
English, we just don't get it. We like, when I go to the West Coast, it's like, I go in a store and the air conditioning's on. It's like, this is nice. It's cold, just like home. And I go outside and it's like, oh, it's really hot, like inside my house. You have the weather backwards. In my country, it's hot inside because of the heating and cold outside because of the weather. It really freaks me out.
So you get to go to the West Coast. I'm going to ask questions about books. I swear I'm going to ask questions about writing. But how do you cope with the jet lag? Good God.
Well, I don't drink now. That really helps. The answer is you don't cope with the jet lag. You just go around like you've been posted, like, you've been mailed in a big sack and have gone through the mail service and opened at the other end, and you stagger out going, what the heck did I do that for?
Sorry. That was hilarious.
It's just,
It's so true, because it's so true. You get out the plane going, oh God, why?
it's horrible. It stinks in planes, even in first class and business where you pay thousands of dollars, you get some peanuts and the bathroom stinks and everyone on the plane stinks. And it's like a stinky hotel in the sky.
I cannot wait for Avenue 5 to come back. You are writing on the next season, right?
I'm working on it, and my exclusive would be that the second, if you like the first season, the second season is incredible. It is just insane. It is vicious and funny and cruel and lovely. It's amazing. You'll be sitting there going, I can't believe they did that, like every 10 seconds.
I'm sorry. When I watch it once a week, I go, oh my God, how did they think of this? Oh my God, how did they think of this? And then like I'm writing a book and I'm like, I could never think of anything that good. That is
Sure you
so
could. Of course you could.
good.
Well, I mean, the thing about the writing process, just talk about TV for a second, is that somebody says a line and then somebody goes, yeah, but what if this happened? And somebody says, yeah, but what if somebody was eating them when it happened? And somebody goes, yeah, but what if, and it just, because you have a lot of writers, everyone's competing, not competing aggressively, but competing to get a better line and to cap it. The one bad thing about writing on your own is that, there are ways of getting around it, but you think of a joke, you go, yeah, that's good. It's very hard to think of a better joke when you're competing with yourself.
Oh no, I know exactly I don't know exactly what you're talking about for the writer's room, but I'm gonna say this morning, like I'm working on a script because someone asked me to work on the said script. And anyway, I was writing it and I'm like, yes, this is the best. And then immediately Jade comes over and I'm like, hold on, let me read this to you. She goes, yeah, you need that line, this line, that line, yeah, this line. And it will never be clear until you tell that joke up there and then this joke down here and I'll read it again. No, let's really call somebody.
Like, that's annoying. You need to put her in a vehicle and drive it away. When people do that, it's like, I don't care if you're right. Stop giving me advice.
No, but she makes it better. Like,
okay.
Like, I read it again this morning and I laughed, and I read it to somebody else and they laughed. When I read it to them the first time, they were like a little confused. Like, she's good at it. She's really good at it. That might be because she's a writer as well. Okay, let's talk about writing in a writer's room. First of all, you write books. Yes. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit about the difference between writing books and writing in a writer's room? Or is that even a real question? Because that's like completely different.
Yeah, I mean, the way I worked on the shows that I worked on, like Veep and Avenue 5, it's a lot of remote writing, even before COVID came along. You sit there and you'd be sent a script and it's like, we need alts, we call them alternate lines. We need this page to be better. We need this speech to be better. We need the guy to come in, do this, but also at the same time tell somebody he loves them while at the same time being really out. And you just sit there and go, okay. And that's fun because, it's like if I come up to you and say, I really like this page I've written, but I need to have the main character express his love for the other main character while at the same time I'm trying to book a holiday while at the same time fighting a shark. And you'd be like, okay, but it's kind of easier for you to do that than me because it's not your responsibility. Writing a book, as you know, is nobody cares until it's published. You have an idea, nobody cares. You tell people, they don't care. They've heard your ideas. You write the book, finally, you've got something to show to people. You show it to people, most of them hate it. Then finally, you find someone who likes it, then it's exciting. Then maybe you get an editor, and then now 2 people have read it. That's the main difference. It's just you living in a submarine for 3 years or 6 months or whatever. And then finally you get to leave the submarine and everyone goes, what the hell were you doing? Writing in a writer's room, you're part of it. It's like the difference between being a golfer and playing football.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I'm glad it does. It doesn't make sense to me, but
it's you and the course and your knowledge of your body, your physical abilities, your limitations, and your own strategy and mental fortitude for golf.
It's you and the course. Yeah, I like that.
Whereas like in football, it's you, your thoughts, and your ability to communicate said thoughts without telling the other team.
Yeah.
There's so many other people working around. Yeah, I can see how that just makes a much better game. I mean, because people who watch football aren't going, you know what I really want to do today? Watch a whole afternoon of golf.
Yeah, I can believe. As an English person, American football is just people standing around, and then suddenly one of them gets bored and tries to run away, and everyone else attacks him.
Oh, right. Yeah, I like American football. Soccer confuses me, but I'm American.
Yeah, my kids were watching Teen Titans, and they had a whole episode about how stupid soccer was. My kids are like, what's wrong with these people? Soccer is great, but it's just a cultural difference. It's a really big one.
Yeah, like the games over there are serious.
Oh yeah.
Like, no matter what country I am in Europe, they all are serious about your soccer.
Oh, soccer, it's not as violent anymore. In the old days, if you went to a soccer match, you'd be in a fight. You know, everyone was attacking each other. The game would be going on. Nobody would be watching. They would be trying to kill each other. But now it's a lot nicer.
So it was like rugby in the stands and soccer on the field?
Yeah, it was rugby. Yeah, it was crazy. It's like riots. It's like, should we go to a football match? Oh, I haven't got my hammer. Okay, well, maybe we could pick one up on the way.
I'm so sorry. I have not laughed this much during the show.
You're just putting me in a good mood. That's all.
Oh my goodness. And that's something to be said. Okay, let's go down on with writing again. So how do you produce that many words? What gets you through? Because you're like you said, it's like being in a submarine. And when you're in a submarine, you have your own thoughts. So what gets you through?
It's just, okay, I don't normally like inspirational quotes, but the movie director Kurosawa said, making a movie is like climbing a mountain. You never look at the mountain, you look at your feet. One step at a time. When I write, it's like, let's say I'm doing a book that's like 90,000 words, which is pretty long for a novel. I don't think, oh my God, I've got to write 90. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to write 1,000 words a day, 5 days a week, and whatever fives into 90, that's going to take me 45 weeks. And I do it. And, because anyone can write 1,000 words. Well, most anyone can. So sit down, write 1,000 words. And if I miss a day, I write 2,000 words the next day. And I do that and have the odd break. And then one day, it's like you look around and you've written a book.
I understand that. I've never done it that way. I'm going to try it the next time.
So what way do you use?
I clear everything and I take 3 weeks and write a book.
Oh, wow. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. It's an okay way to do it. It's the only way I've known how to do it. So it's weird. I'm gonna try something else. I swear.
I just have this thing that I respect literary authors, but I secretly want to be like Mickey Spillane, who wrote, pulp thrillers, and he could.
Oh my God! You know who Mickey Spillane is?
Yeah, everyone knows who Mickey Spillane is.
Absolute reason I started writing.
Oh, really? I haven't read his stuff, but I always wanted to be him. Is he good?
You haven't read? Okay, never mind. Okay, everyone says his worst book is the book that I read, but I love it. Like, I think to me it's his best book.
What's it called?
Black Alley.
Black Alley. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually Jade read it first, and she has dyslexia, so her reading it took like almost all summer. And I was like, if she's really devoted to this book, I must read it. And so I read it, and I was like, that's what I want to do with my author life. I had got published when I was 10 years old, and I read it at 12, and I was like, that's what I'm doing. Okay. I want to write pulp fiction.
Well, I have total respect for that. Pulp fiction is just writing, pure writing that earns you money, and it's exciting, and there's no excess. One of my favorite quotes is the writer Martin Amis, who I don't like. I'm a fan of his father, a writer called Kingsley Amis. And Kingsley Amis said, the difference between me and my son is that he'll write a scene in a bar, and it'll be like, we went in the bar, we had this drink, and the floor was like this, and this girl was here, and she was thinking that. Whereas I just write, they finished their drinks and left. And I'm kind of a they finished their drinks and left kind of writer. And that's why I like pulp writers, and I like genre fiction. Apart from science fiction and fantasy writers really like a lot of words. really big books.
Yes. And that's what Audible is for. You're like, I like fantasy books. They're like, which ones have you read? Which ones have I heard?
Yeah, I tried a Stephen King on Audible, and I'm just too impatient. I like Stephen King, but I'm like, I don't want to know what color the barrel is. I don't care how many toes the monster's got. I want to get to the bit where the monster attacks someone.
Hence pulp.
Pulp is great. Some of the best writers are pulp. You know, it's simple. It's
Pulp and Hemingway, obviously, because he was very simple and to the point.
I haven't read Hemingway. I mostly read there were so many parodies of Hemingway when I was growing up. I felt I didn't need to read him because everyone was just writing mock Hemingway stuff. But yeah, I have a lot of admiration for somebody who can weigh their words like that and just go, nope, let's throw those words out. Let's see if we can get this down to a 5-word sentence.
So like, I think it's great because I think we were reading Dickens. And then like when you read Hemingway, it's like that cut clean newspaper, because he was a journalist. So you get like the journalist side. It's like a novel that's a journalist newspaper story.
Yeah.
The who, what, when, where, why. Next chapter, who, what, when, where, why. I enjoy that.
Journalism's
and why
great.
does it attach to the other chapter? This is good. Let's keep it going. Because Dickens,
I love it.
Too much. It was too much.
Dickens is like someone, he's not a journalist, he's a magazine writer, but he's got the thing, he's got a fill. He's starting a magazine, you know, he's crazy. And it's like, okay, so who's the writer? You are, Charles. And he's like, well, okay, who's got to fill? So I've got to write half the magazine. Yeah, maybe just do a story. So he's got to write an insane amount of words every month. And he's kind of going, they went into the shop. Was it a big shop? I cannot say. Was it a small shop? I cannot say. Perhaps it's like, just get on with it. But he's a brilliant writer. He's really funny. He has great descriptions. I read a book about Dickens. Do you know the phrase that Charles Dickens used the most? As if. He's always comparing things. He goes, it was as if. She looked as if. He's always comparing things. And it's why he's a great writer, because everyone gets it. But yeah, he's not what you call concise.
No. Okay. Back to your writing. So you had one of the books adapted into a film, or did you write on Book of Love?
I invented Book of Love. There's no Book of Love book. I came up with the idea and created the movie, and I have a co-writer who's the director, Annalene Calamayor. But yeah, I wrote most of the drafts of the movie, created the characters and everything, and the concept.
How did you do this? Because there's two different cultures, and you did a great job of meshing them together and making them work. And do you speak fluent Spanish?
No, I mean, the thing is, you have to bear in mind, the director and the co-writer, Annalene, she's Mexican. I mean, you know, literally could not have done it without her, because my draft was okay, but I've never been to Mexico. I don't speak Spanish. And she was like, oh, these characters are great, but it's a little bit of a cliche. You know, the Mexican male lead was a little bit of a kind of, not a comedy Mexican, nothing like that, but he wasn't a real person. He was a cartoon. And Annalene made him into someone you'd actually like, even though he's not the best guy in the world. And she worked with Veronica Echegui, who is Spanish, to make Maria, you know, a rounded character. Because I didn't want to write a thing where everybody was like a British romantic comedy where there's like a posh guy and a crazy girl. Yeah, I wanted them to be real, so she has a family and all this. And because Annalene is Mexican, you know, she made the road trip. She said, we have to go to this town. I've never heard of it. This place, meet these people. So it could only be made in Mexico. You couldn't have filmed it anywhere else. And it's, you know, so that's what's good about it, is that I brought the British comedy and the British character thing, and Annalene brought the whole spirit of Mexico to it.
And I love how you encapsulated the literary writer. It was so well done, with the sensible heart. How did that just come to you, or when you were writing, it was just like, you know, this book needs to be minus.
I was thinking, like, what would it be cool? Because I had this idea that the book isn't actually bad, you know, that it's just a bit boring. and dry. Henry is a good writer, but he just doesn't get how to make it exciting. And, you know, the word sensible, because sensible in Jane Austen means like capable of having feelings. So Henry is using it like that, but he calls something sensible. It sounds like sensible shoes. It's boring. He might as well have called it the boring heart. So I like that idea. That was kind of my private joke that, you know, El Corazón Sensibile sounds fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like a song. But the sensible heart is just like, really, I'm not going to read this book.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. So like everyone always used to tell me, oh, Spanish is such this love language and everything. And I was like, that's nice. I know how to speak some of it because, well, it's America. You have to. And I was like, I want to learn French because that sounds amazing. And then I saw the sign and I read it and I was like, El Corazón Sensibile. And I was like, oh, that's hot. Oh, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. Yes, because yeah, the sensible heart. But I just want to say, I feel like you hit the nail on the head with every one of my literary friends. Not that they write bad.
No, it's just long. They write long, or they write really short. I mean, Henry's novel, it's never really referred to, but Henry's novel is like 1/10 the length of Maria's novel. Because nothing happens, you know, it's like, I am in love with you, he said, I will buy a bicycle now, the end. Whereas Maria's is like sex and volcanoes and dragons. And yeah, because I know a lot of people who write genre fiction and crime fiction, sci-fi, and they all say the same thing, that, you know, literary fiction is just another genre. It's not better than the other books. It's just different, you know. Some of the best writers in the world write crime novels or science fiction or comedy, and some of the worst writers in the world write literary fiction. And I wanted to write a book that was kind of praising genre fiction. I said, what's wrong with a sexy book? What's wrong with a book about relationships? Why is a book good if nothing happens and it's all set in the writer's head?
Mm-hmm. So, yes, as the narcissist, I'm going to have to bring it back to me, but I'm just going to say, for y'all literary authors out there, they're like, literary, try writing a romance novel.
Exactly.
That thing is hard.
Try writing 3. I mean, I know people who write, you know, romantic novels for a living, and it's like, after the 3rd time you've written, oh yes, she gasped and fell into his arms, you know, then you've got to do it again. So I have a lot of respect for that.
Some of the longest careers are romance writers.
Yeah, people, you know, if people want to read it, then that's a great thing. And a lot of these books are funny, they're intelligent, they tell you more about human life than a cop show, say, for example. Tell you more about a life than a serious art movie. And I've got nothing against serious art movies, but just a shot of somebody staring out at the sea for 10 minutes doesn't tell you anything about the human condition, other than maybe they should get up and do something.
You really, really have to be in tune with not just your emotions, but the other person's emotions and observations of human. It's like a psychology study that's fun.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, let's get back to you and your writing again, and then I swear I'm done. So what, I don't want to ask what's next. Good. It's time for me to ask the what's next question. Do you mind if I ask one more question?
You can ask us whatever you like. The what's next question. Oh
no, before I ask that, raise that question from the mind. This question is comedy. How do you know when it's funny?
Yeah, it's a good question. Some people know when it's funny because a lot of British writers in TV write in pairs. So they know it's funny because the person next to them laughs, or they laugh. Yeah, I mean, there was a movie I saw years ago called, I think, Funny Guys. It had Adam Sandler in it and some other people. And it was interesting because obviously it's written by people who are professional comedians, so they know what they're talking about. And what I really liked was there was a running gag. Somebody would say, hey, I've got a gag for you. They'd tell a gag to a comedian. And the comedian would never laugh. He'd just go, yeah, that's funny. Because there's like appreciating the joke. You know, never tell a joke to a comedian because they'll either steal it or they'll probably say it's not funny. But if they really like it, they go, yeah, that's funny. You'll never get a laugh. So I guess when you write comedy, you just know, it sounds like a joke. You know, sometimes it makes you laugh. Sometimes you just write it without thinking. Yeah, sometimes you go back and you think, yeah, that was funny. But I suppose it's the same as anything. How do you know when a scene is exciting? I guess because you're in it. You know, if you write a section where somebody steals a horse and gallops off and an aeroplane chases them and they jump over a ravine to safety, when you've written it, you should be going, oh. And it's the same with comedy. Even if you're not laughing, you should go, that was funny. You should be enjoying it, even though it's hard work and boring. You should be enjoying it.
Did you say it's boring?
Even if, well, by boring, I mean the writing process.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, because a lot of days you just have to sit there, you're like, okay, we're here. And at the end of the chapter, we have to be here. And I know how to do it, but I kind of actually don't want to write it. I just want to think it. You're going,
I tell you, I swear I love interviewing people who write, because like, yes, I know that. I know that feeling. I know that feeling well. Just had that feeling this morning.
I'm glad it's not just
here, but I don't want to write what's in between to get there.
It's like you can see the can of Guinness in the kitchen and you know, you can see yourself going to get it, but you're like, why isn't it just here? Why isn't the can of Guinness in the room now? Have I got to get up? And I know how to do it. And it's like that with write. Sometimes you're really looking forward. When I wrote Book of Love, you know, there's the scene, you may recall, where Henry finally finds out what Maria wrote, and the host of the show makes Maria read out the line in the book, and Henry loses it. And I knew that was like the first joke I had, and I knew I was always going to write that scene, and I could not wait. But then there's like scenes where they're in a hotel checking in. You know, okay, could someone else write this? There isn't a scene where they check into a hotel. That'd be too boring. But you know, sometimes you have to write the hotel check-in scene.
And then you then my problem is I always want to spice it up, because you know it has to be there. But
Yeah.
wouldn't it be funny if you know, wouldn't this be a great time for a joke? And then you're like, not every moment can be like that.
Yeah, sometimes that bit is like you've got a friend who's always telling jokes, and you're like, we have to go and tell Auntie Mary that her cat's dead, and your friend's going, okay, hands up, who's got a cat who's still alive? Put your hand down. You're like, you know, sometimes writing is like you have a friend who's always making jokes, and you need to tell them to get out of the room, because sometimes you have to have your serious friend.
It's upsetting. But anyway, thank you for answering the question about how do you know it's funny. I have been trying to ask myself that question since I was 12 years old. How do I know it's funny? So thank you. Because I mean, the guy who helped write Avenue 5, well, obviously he would know what's funny, because oh my God. Now you know I'm gonna have to watch it again. So this will be the second time this week. This is upsetting.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's fun.
Especially the oxygen beat. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, I'm going to say next season, this is the insider thing, just watch out for the eels.
Did you say the eels?
Eels, like the little fish things.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I now have something to think about all for the next 8 weeks. I can't wait to see what that's about. So now, where can people find out more information about you, and what is next? Oh, I lied. Next to the last question. Next one's okay. I swear.
It's always the next to the last question.
One. I swear.
There's no last question. It's an infinite.
Yes, there is. That question is the last question. When I say it again, I swear to you, it will be the last one. Development. Can you tell us a bit about taking the script from the script? And you said you had to work with a director for Book of Love and another co-writer. What is development like?
Development is interesting because you write a book, as I say, somebody goes, I like it. Here's an editor. The editor helps you. With TV, you can end up in millions of meetings with lots of people going, and you know, that cliche really does happen. Somebody goes, we really like your show, The Robot Sisters, but do they have to be robots? And do they have to be sisters? And it ends up being called something like The Pirate Brothers. You're like, how did that happen? Film, I really like movies, because movies is basically, at my level, which is low down, one or two people who have a lot of money that they want to spend either losing it or making a movie. So they're going around looking for somebody who has a movie. My producer friend, Mike, he's going around looking for those people. And when they meet, it's really easy. They go, we've got a script. Now we need a director and some actors, and we have money to give them. And the moment that happens, And Book of Love was around for about 6 years. And then suddenly we found the right money people, we found Anna Lane, we found a great cast, and it was like, let's do it. And it was made during COVID in like 5 weeks, really fast. And that's why I like movies, because you're there going, oh, hi, so yeah, oh, what now? And then they make it.
Wow. Last question, as promised.
Let me
Where
guess.
can people find out more information about you and what's next?
You can find out about me on my website, davidquantic.com, which is a very bad website that I hardly ever update, but it does have free short stories on it. I used to write a short story every month, and there's like 40 short stories. Some of them are terrible, but some of them, one day they should be great movies. And there's updates on what I'm doing. What am I up to next? I am writing a novel about a British female surrealist painter and her life. I've made her up. She doesn't exist, but she's based on various artists like Leonora Carrington and Remedios Varo. And Mexico's in it, obviously, because Mexico gets into everything. But yeah, it's going to take me a few months to write. It's the longest thing I've ever written. It's 90,000 words already, and I've been writing it all year. So who knows what's going to happen.
Wow. That's a long book. Yet again, I'm so sorry. It's an Audible book.
If it ever comes out, I really feel sorry for the person who has to read it.
Oh, no. I'm gonna buy the book and I will definitely start reading it. I promise you.
Well, thank you.
I'll definitely finish it on Audible, but I will start reading it.
Okay, good luck.
It's a good commitment. It's a good chunk of time. Okay. This is funny. Is like someone told me a host said never ever admit that, and here I am, yet again admitting that 90,000 words is a lot. You can find out everything your ladies are up to at www.andithoughladies.com. By the way, I should have mentioned before I started that I'm going to wrap us up now. And while you're there at www.andithoughladies.com, you go down to the middle of the page and you can see the charities that we proudly support. I'm going to take this moment to mention that in October, the 14th and the 15th, the Ladies Literary Weekend, we will be holding a gala to support those charities, as well as awarding women in literature, media, and journalism. Go to our website, check it out, ask some questions because we need to update the information. So you all remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh yeah, thanks for listening.